Alright, it's been a little more difficult for me to make commentary videos recently, so what I'm going to start commenting at high speed, because especially with battles like this where the enemies are such sponges, they have a ton of HP, it's like, gee, I wonder what they're going to do next. Maybe the same thing that's been going on. So anyways, maybe that's just my personal opinion. But yeah, so high-speed commentary here. And the problem is, it kind of messes with the music, so I'll just have to figure something else about that. But so Strago, initial impressions. I believe we'll be able to run him as a budget. Right now he's 3-3. He's 0-3, and he is just realized at 0-3. And I do have him with his LD. I would not run Strago without his LD. His LD is so powerful. It's so good. He loses so much without it. I just wouldn't do it. So here I'm going to try a Brave to Death, which breaks Behemoth B, and I did not get lucky enough for the second cast to make it an even number, or the first cast to make an even number for the second cast. But anyways, so I guess let's talk about Strago. That his first ability, Quasar, is extremely powerful. It actually kind of lacks Brave strength for the Brave damage, but it deals full HP damage. So if he brings, what's his max right now, 50,000. So if he's using Quasar and he gets to 50,000, it won't split the damage. It'll do the full 50,000 to both of them. That is very rare. Yeah, see, look at that. It's so strong. Well, the second one didn't work so well because of the. We'll get back to that. So yeah, it's rare to find full HP damage to multiple targets outside of the X's. Much less Strago, who's able to dual cast something like that. Imagine Squall's Renzo Kukin, but it casts twice, and the Brave hit all targets instead of just one. Like, it's quite strong. Unfortunately, it lacks overflow, also like Renzo Kukin, but you can make up for that nowadays. We have a couple of units that provide overflow. So that's Quasar. Quasar is a little bit lacking in Brave damage, as are most of Straga's skills, so that's something to keep in mind when you're building Strago. He does very well with an Imperil Enchanter. He does very well with people who up damage, more so than batteries or Brave regen, and the reason for that is because you want that second casting to deal lots of damage. See, the second cast there will do less damage because he starts with 0 Brave. He doesn't Brave refund in between casts like, say, Vaughn does. And so, he's, at least not yet. We'll see what happens when he gets his LD boards. Oh, so you just saw me use dual cast there. One of the big problems with keeping Strago at 0-3 ingots is his dual cast stays very weak. Normally, if you have ingots in Strago, he will Brave refund between the first and second casting, which that dual cast does, and that will allow his second Brave and HP set of damage to do more damage, more HP damage at least. So he's really gimped with his HP attack at 0-3 ingots, or his dual cast, and then his EX is actually quite weak. Well, maybe not weak, it's quite mediocre. So there I'm going to use Brave to Death, but only one casting of it. So that did two things there. One is it broke Behemoth B, which I don't know if I need to go over the battle mechanics of this battle. It's a little tricky, but basically blue auras. The blue aura means he now absorbs melee. He absorbs ranged, I believe, and he has double resistance to magic attacks until he's either broken or takes a turn, which means you'll either want an insta-break, such as Cabranth, obviously Strago, Kefka with his Havoc Wing will instant break, or you'll want like strong poisons and saps, or you'll want to allow them to take their turn without damaging you. So like you could take Beatrix, for example, and as long as Beatrix's Holy Knight buff, whatever that thing's called, is up, they can attack you, they'll lose all their Brave, and they'll do 0 damage. edge with evasion. Really any tank with evasion would do well here, due to the fact that they don't resist lock, from what I can tell. Bosch would do well here because he's Bosch and he does well everywhere. There's nowhere Bosch doesn't do well except for like constant dispels, but nobody does well against a constant dispelling enemy. But anyways, well, I shouldn't say nobody. It's very rare. I haven't thought of who, and I'm not going to right now. It's off the topic. So Strago's Quasar. You're going to see another dual cast of it here. It's so strong. Look at that. That's so much damage. Alright, and what's even better than that is Grand Delta, his LD. His LD is like his Quasar ability, his first skill, where it does do full HP damage to all targets, and it re-breaks them. So if they're not broken, oh, here's the white aura. Let's talk about that since it won't come up much. When the enemy has that white aura, they don't necessarily gain defense. What they gain is an automatic sap-like effect on all of our characters. So every time our character takes a turn, they take like 12 or 16,000 brave off of us and gave it to themselves for every turn, until you either break them or they take a turn. So that sucks, but whatever. Gravity is another way to get around it, which you kind of saw with Amidatelions' HP attack there. Also, Amidatelions' brave attack will gravity. I bet somebody's going to run X-Death through here. Other gravity shaders, they're out there, off the top. So that's Strago's Grand Delta, is kind of like Vayne's and Gabrant's abilities, where if they're broken, it will unbreak them. Or I think, what's her name? Lightning's Army of One ability does that too, I believe. Oh, they do get another white aura off. So yeah, what is that? 14,000 brave. You know what? I bet somebody's going to run a max brave down team on them. That would be interesting to see. But anyways, ooh, wow, Amidatelion almost died there. That was pretty fortunate. That my run didn't just end there. Yeah, we'll bring in the friend Amidatelion to do some damage. Now that they're both below half HP, and they have their extremely high brave damage brave damage resistance or whatever. Yeah, there's Grand Delta. It's going to auto-break them no matter what their brave is at. It's going to unbreak them if they're broken already, so that way you can just break them and knock them back another turn. Like, it's so good. And then it's going to give Strago a free ability usage on his next turn of his skill 1, 2, or C65, which is very good because his ability usages are so limited. One thing you'll note is I don't have his bloom token, whatever, given to him just yet, and that's because a lot of this was initial testing, and I don't have his armor purpled. I have enough armor ingots to do it, I just haven't done it. And I probably will, because it helps out with his longevity quite a bit. Let's talk about his EX. It's not as strong as Quasar or Grand Delta. It deals split HP damage, so if he gets his max brave right now is 52,000, it'll just deal 25,000 each. It does have better overflow though, I will say that. But most importantly, it gives him 2 uses of Soul of Thamasa, his dual casting buff. Quasar does not do that. Grand Delta does do that, but you're going to want to cast Grand Delta with Soul of Thamasa already up, so it dual casts, because it's so strong. And then he has that's not L2 death, that's level 2 death. He has Brave 2 death. So if their Brave is an even number, like it's not right now, it will instant break them and then deal the hits. Brave 2 death is actually kind of weak. So if you, unless you're in a stage where you need to do that gimmick, then it's probably only useful for giving him his Soul of Thamasa buff. And due to how weak it is, it's not a terrible idea to use it to give him his Soul of Thamasa buff right before his EX day. Quasar doesn't give him Soul of Thamasa, and it's so strong you should only use it with Soul of Thamasa. Quasar and Grand Delta should only be used if he has Soul of Thamasa. If he doesn't have it, use something else first. They're just that strong. His EX, what is that, Saber Soul? It can't be Saber Soul, but that's what it looks like, and I haven't heard anybody else pronounce it yet. Also gives him his Soul of Thamasa buff. It will dual cast if you already have Soul of Thamasa, so it's good to dual cast if available, but it's not as strong as Grand Delta or Quasar, HP damage wise, so it's not like I must wait for Soul of Thamasa to be available before casting it. He has longevity issues, so he's great to sub out for your friend unit, which I didn't do here, but oh well. Particularly longevity issues if you keep him at 0-3 ingots like I have, due to the fact that his dual cast attack doesn't get its bravery funded in between the two castings. So, yeah. Meh, 8,000 on the second cast. Bleh. But, that's budget-ish Strago. I say budget-ish because he still has his LD, because you should not run him without his LD. He loses too much without it. I guess I could have talked about Amidatelion, since I so rarely use Amidatelion. Amidatelion is super, super powerful. I still haven't even given Amidatelion a book. Amidatelion is still at base EX. I should have used Comet more. I was too conservative with Amidatelion skills this run, but we're going to make it anyways. Amidatelion does have the EX, which is extremely powerful, provides bravery gen, batteries the party, 100% gravity effect, so pretty good for this stage when they give themselves a lot of brave. It's just, and then erases their turns. I wouldn't say there's nothing it can't do because it doesn't heal, but like, it does a lot. And now we're going to win. I made the right decision by attacking the one that's launchable so that I could battery my allies in the launch. Kind of battery. Give them a free brave hit basically to do more damage here. And Amidatellion's buff ran out, but it doesn't matter. Battle's over. I think I forgot to go into artifacts for this, so thank you very much for watching.